evening. In year 2000, for the first time, I saw a blind person. And almost 2 months ago, on March 1st, I celebrated the 12th anniversary of losing my sight and coming into the real world in the dark. It's speechless, shivering probably. You might find a lot of words. I just want to tell, let's rethink of it at the end of this story I'm going to tell you tonight. I will continue to speak in English because I have to pass Yale's or TOEFL, and it's good to make some practice. This blind man I saw in year 2000 was living at the area of City of Students, that we call it here in Tirana. And I was living there as well because I was attending university as an electronic engineer. My interest, concern, or attention I was paying to him as a human being was just 5 seconds. At the time it takes to see someone across your street. And every single time I was facing him in my way, I was just feeling anxious, discomfort, and highly motivated to escape from the moment and avoid it. His blindness, his way of living in the dark, his everyday habits, how he was walking alone on the street, for me were a sort of alien life, really an unknown truth that I don't know for what reason produced probably the most negative emotions I ever heard in my life. Today, after 13 years, being member of this wonderful team and amazing sport, blindness, I just know hundreds of people, totally blind, totally normal to my perception, and they are just sharing and living in the same society, interacting and challenging life as everyone else. Why am I here tonight, and why did it affect my way of thinking, and why am I telling to you this story? I'm one of just around 11,000 blind persons living in Albania, and some other living in Kosovo, Montenegro, and Macedonia, but I will talk a little bit later for that, had the chance to dive from light to dark and raise up back from darkness to light. Don't ask me about the reasons, I don't know them, but I just am here, though it looked like that losing my sight was not the first and the last surprise of my life. I was just feeling inferior, losing a lot of people. My girlfriend abandoned me in a bench in a park as we were sitting due to the blindness. Unfortunately, at that moment, I didn't have any credits in my mobile, and I had to wait there for a couple of hours until someone recognized and collected me up. So by that moment, I just keep 2 mobiles. One that I have here, I will show you something about this later, and another one which never remains without credit. Who knows? You never know. There are a lot of circumstances, and I might face the same experience again. Well, actually, I did change. I thought that the best way is to accept yourself, and I did accept myself. I'm a psychologist. I've studied psychology. A professor of mine would mention a theory of Carl Rogers, self-concept. And I had this healthy self-concept, the contact with yourself. I'm not going to explain this theory now. And what did I do? I was so angry that Carl Rogers had understood this theory prior than me, and I did some other things that probably he would have never done. Getting a degree in clinical development and relationship psychology, co-moderating a TV show, Dancing with the Stars, and which is the most important part that I'm going to continue speaking tonight, building a computer from scratch and finding out that it works in the end. And this is what I did, the part that I love. Small thinking, few lines, few papers, and a lot of passion. I just had to share knowledge, a lot of knowledge that I got. I wrote a few lines. I was going through a call of application that circulates from a sort of foundation that everyone knows recently. I'm not going to mention names because as I was entering here, there is a big table, no publicity, so I'm going to respect it. And I just submitted my application and my passion, and they supported me. But every one of us might be a supporter. We just need to look around and understand what what is the need to change in this community. And believe me, there is no need to see. We can see around with every single sense of ours. I wrote these few lines and designed a project, a small project, individual one, that helps more than 1,200 persons around Albania, blind person like me. They're there. Thank you. They're just waiting for a couple of hours to read a text message. They're just waiting for a couple of days to get informed if there was a new mail in their inbox. This big project was a small one indeed, but it was big for me. Everything started there. More than 1,200 people all over Albania. As I said, much more they needed to read a magazine and a book. Nothing was accessible for us. This was the big one. I have something in my hand. Probably half of the attendees in this room do have this kind of software. An iPhone. We use a sort of technology. People, when look at me, say you're a genius. Even when I'm going to eat an apple or there is something, I'm not a genius. This is very simple. I don't know if you have ever gone through the settings in this device. Let me explain to you. Losing my sight scenes was not the only challenge. Okay. Nail, phone. I promise I will slow it down. Okay. Settings. Airplane, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, note, general, sound, brightness and privacy, iCloud, mail, notes, reminders, phone, airplane reminders, phone, FaceTime, maps, Safari, but iTunes and apps, music, video, photos and camera. Photos and camera. Nike pages, but Scott page, Nike plus iPod, button. Okay. It reads everything in the screen. I have a note here. Clock. Remind notes. 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 To be. Notes. To be or not to be. William Shakespeare. Heading. Okay. The answer is to be. Okay. Okay, this very expensive device has included at least 80 languages. Albanian is not there. I had a Nokia, an old mobile Nokia, and when we change the time zone, we see there Afghanistan, Andorra, Algeria, Albania is not there. And there are, even in the computers, when we change the time zone, there is no Albania. I have to check Amsterdam, Berlin, Rome, GMT +1. I don't know for what reason, but this is my big plan to change, not these things, some other more specific. Albanian region speakings, more than 11 blind persons living in Albania. Probably at the age of 40, there are 3,500 of them only in Albania, 3,000 in Kosovo. I'm not very sure about numbers in Montenegro and Macedonia, but they go more than 20,000. We do not use, I just read with this kind of technology only in English. If I type something in Albanian, it is really ununderstandable. No one can understand it. And if you want, I might even type something here. Slide to unlock. Messages. Space. Home. Messages. Search field is editing. Character. Select. Capital Y. Capital P. Capital P. E. E. Y. Top search result. R. R. Top search shift. A. D. S. S. No items. K. J. To H. J. K. J. H. H. E. E. W. Q. Search Safari. Search Wikipedia. Safari. Search web. Search Wikipedia is really understandable. Clear text. Search field is editing. Character mode. Persh. Persh. Indeed, it should have been Persian data. I read 60 pages every day. I'm a PhD student, and by now I came by this kind of technology. 60 pages with this kind of distorted speech. My big plan, there are just 3 steps I've done to diminish, to resolve once and forever this problem of special education for blind persons living in Albania, but not only, even learning disabled ones. I just study, I'm a psychologist of education, and my degree belongs to learning disabilities, dyslexia, which is really a very unknown word here in Albania. Dyslexic people, they are called language blind. They do use the same technology like here. A lot of children which suffer for this kind of lack of special education, and I'm going to produce an Albanian speech synthesizer. I designed the project, designed my PhD draft, and I'm waiting to implement it. That's why I'm here talking in English, because this is not only for Albania, this is for Kosovo, Montenegro, Macedonia, and probably furthermore. I will not, that's something that doesn't belong to this story, but I'm sure that in whole world, Albania is probably one of those small countries that do not have this kind of technology, this inclusive environment for special education. That's why I'm here tonight, just to show you that even in these conditions, even in the dark, I was not really good in physics, but I can surely say that you can emit light even through the dark. Thank you for listening.